Let's start with 2019 paper. 2019 paper. Okay. So this is 2019 question number 2, part B. So let me go through the question. Kumudu PLC has two production departments, assembly and finishing, and a service department, stores. Two production department and one service department. Budgeted information for the next financial year is as follows. Supervisor's salary, rent, electricity, security charges, depreciation on machinery. Then they have given the basis. These are basis. Flow area, kilowatt hours, number of security persons, labor hours, machine hours, number of material requisitions raised. Additional information. The cost of the machinery, assembly and finishing department, 450,000 and 800,000. Depreciate the machinery on straight line 20%. Total overheads of the stores department are reapportioned between assembly and finishing department based on the number of material requisition raised. The assembly department uses machine hours, and finishing department uses labor hours to absorb overheads. The company sells goods by adding profit markup of 20% on total production cost. The following details are relevant to the products ABC and PQ1. So there are two products, ABC and PQ1. 12 hours spent, production overheads, time cost, selling price. Required first the overhead analysis sheet and absorption rate, production overhead per unit, and selling price per unit of ABC, and production overhead and prime cost for PQ1. Right, so first step, let's prepare the overhead analysis sheet. Overhead analysis sheet. So this is the overhead analysis sheet, where we have the item, apportionment base, the total cost, and the department, production department, and one service department. So I'll draw this format for the overhead analysis. There are 5 expenses. Supervisor salary. Then electricity, security charges, machinery depreciation. So can you all find out the apportionment base and divide the expense for each department. Each expense divide according to the departments. There is a question. So should we remember the format of this analysis sheet? Yes, this is the format. So for all the question, we can use this format. Just item, the expense, and the base. What is the base that we are going to divide each expense to these departments, right? So let's have the total amount and divide this total for these three departments. Right? This one is supervisor salary total 1,690. 1,690,000. All the values in thousand, so don't forget to write this thousands, rupees thousands. Values are in thousands. Apportionment base is direct. Since they have directly given for all three departments, we can say direct. Assembly 530, finishing 730, stores 430. Rent is 360 total. And you have to select the apportionment base. Most suitable apportionment base for the rent is floor area. Floor area 963. 963 means 3:2:1. Floor area 963 means 3:2:1. First paid supervisor salary, then the rent. floor area. Divide by 6 into 3. Divide by 6 into 1. Total 360. So can you complete this and tell me how much is for assembly, how much is for finishing, how much is for the stores? Tell me the total. There is a question. Flow area, the ratio is 9,000, 6,000, and 8,000. Right? So 9,000 means if you divide this, this is 9 is to 6 is to 3. Right? So everything you can divide by again 3. So this is 3, 2, 1. So the final 3 is to 3 is to 1. This is how I got 3 to 1 flow area. Ratio is, let me explain again since there is another question. Now this is 18,000 is the total flow area. Out of this, 9,000 for assembly. So 9,000 for assembly is 9,000 over 18,000. This is assembly. Then 6,000 over 18,000 is for finishing. And the stores 3,000 over 18,000. Out of 18,000, 9,000 is for assembly, 6,000 is for finishing, 3,000 is for stores. So if you divide this, this is a 3 over 6. This is 3 over 6. This is 2 over 6. This is 1 over 6. Right? So this is the rate which I took here. 3 is to 2 is to 1. So if this is total amount is 360, for the assembly, you have to calculate 360 into 3 over 6. Then for finishing, you have to calculate 360 into 2 over 6. And for the stores, you have to calculate 360 into 1 over 6. Is it clear how we divide assembly, finishing, and stores? And tell me how much is for the total cost for assembly, how much is for finishing, and what is the cost for the stores? Let me explain the electricity also. When you take electricity, electricity is 180. Total electricity expense is 180. The electricity expense we have to divide based on the kilowatt hours. Kilowatt hours, the ratio is 3000, 4500 and 1500. All the amounts we can divide by 1500. Then we can take the rate kilowatt, kilowatt 2 is to 3 is to 1, 231. That's the rate, 231. But if you are done with the answer, send me in the chat. So I will tell whether it's correct or not. It's 180. Divide by 6 into 2. 180 divided by 6 into 3. Divide by 6 into 1. 6090. Security charges. Security charges we have to take total amount is 240. Number of security persons. Number of security 5 is to 3 is to 4. Total amount is 240,000. 240 divided by 12 into 5. 240 divided by 12 into 3. 240 divided by 12 into 4. So total is 240. Total 240. Machine depreciation. We have to depreciate the machinery based on the cost of the machine, the depreciation rate. So depreciation, to calculate the depreciation, the machinery values are given in the additional information. So it's a directly given. Assembly and finishing department 450 and 800. So no machines are in stores. Suppose the base is machine cost and this is direct. It's 20%, 450,000 into 20%, 0.2. 90,000 is for assembly, 800,000 into 20% is for finishing department. So there is no machine in. This is 90, this is 160. No machines in the stores. Total depreciation is 250. And 160. Then we'll calculate the total of each column. Total. Now there is a question, how do we find the depreciation? Depreciation is assembly department. There is an asset of 450,000 into 20%. Finishing department has an asset of 800,000 into 20%. So that's how we calculated 90 and 160. This is 90. This is 160. That's how we got the depreciation in thousands. So no asset for the stores. Calculate the total. So we did all these expenses. There is a question, if they have mentioned the data already, we mentioned direct. Yes. If they have separately given the expenses relevant for each department, like for example, the supervisor's amount separately given, 9, 530, 730, 430. If they have separately given, it is direct. Right now, even the depreciation, cost of the machinery separately given for each department. Therefore, we took it as direct. So other amounts they have not given. Here, question marks. So for these, we have to find out the apportionment base. Most suitable base we have to consider. Let's take the total. 2720, 960, 1160, 1,160 and 600. This was. So that's the total. Then we need to reapportion. Reapportionment of service division overhead. Reapportionment of service department reapportionment. The basis for reapportionment is given in the additional information number 2. The total overheads of the stores departments are reapportioned between assembly and finishing department based on the number of material requisition raised by each department. Then the number of material requisition raised by each department is 30 into 20, 3:2. So let's divide them based on the material requisition raised. Number of material raised. It's 3:2. Then 600 we have to deduct from the service department. That 600 should be reapportioned or allocated, divided among the production department based on 3:2 ratio. 600 divided by 5 into 3, 360. Five into 2, 240. And the final answer. $1,320 and $1,400. That's the final thing. Assembly department total overhead cost is 1,320,000. Finishing department 1,400,000. So there's a question to explain this reapportionment part again. Okay, I'll redo it. Now, if you check the additional information number 2, it says that the total overhead of the stores department reapportion between the assembly department. This is the total of stores department. This should be reapportion between assembly and finishing department based on the number of material requisition raised. So that's the number of materials requested by assembly department and finishing department. 30 is to 20. Right? So that means 3 is to 2. So the stores department total cost we have to divide based on 3 is to 2. Because stores department doesn't produce any goods. No production in the stores department, so we have to remove this. That's why we allocate the stores department cost to the production departments. Is it clear? What is that material requisition raised? Material requisition raised means we studied in the material control, right? Material, how many materials requested by assembly department? They have requested 30 times. They requested 30 times. It's a document. Let's say this is, you know, let's say this is a production of furniture. Let's say assembly department, they requested 30 times material. Finishing department, they requested 20 times. So the stores cost allocated based on the requested materials. So it's a document, material requisition note. So that's the first part. Analysis sheet. Then the second point, the second question is overhead absorption rate. Is the overhead absorption rate? Overhead absorption rate. How do we calculate the overhead absorption rate? Overhead absorption rate will be calculated. Here they have said the assembly department uses machine hours and finishing department uses labor hours to absorb overhead. So assembly department, the equation will be budgeted overhead equals, sorry, absorption rate equals budgeted overhead divided by machine hours. That's how we calculate for the assembly department. Okay. Budgeted overhead divided by machine hours. The finishing department, they calculate the overhead, budgeted overhead divided by labor hours. Assembly and finishing. Overhead absorption rate. So assembly department, budgeted overhead is, let's write the total amount. This is 1,320,000 divided by machine hours. What is the machine hours? Machine hours, assembly department, machine hours 12,000. Finishing department, we have to take the labor hours. So this is 12,000, 1.4 million divided by 14,000 is the labor hours. There is a question, what about the total of reapportionment of service? Now, reapportionment of service, there is no total, because there is no total here. It's only transferring this amount transferred to assembly and finishing. The 600 is transferred to assembly and finishing. So there is no total. If you take this total, it's 0. Minus 600 plus 600. It's not an allocation, it's a reapportionment. What is the answer that we get here? Tell me the absorption rate. Assembly how much? Finishing how much? Assembly department. What is the overhead absorption rate? And what is the overhead absorption rate for the finishing department? Is 110 per machine hour. So you have to write 110 rupees per machine hour. And this is 100 per labor. For 1 hour of, for the 1 hour, it's 110. For 1 machine hour, this is 110. Finishing for 1 labor hour, 100. So that's how we calculate the overhead absorption rate. Absorption rate. That's the second part. In the third point, calculate the production overheads per unit, the selling price per unit of product ABC. Product ABC, they're asking us to calculate production overhead. There is a question. Is it always zero in the stores department at the end? Yes. So always the stores department final cost should be zero. The reason is the service department doesn't manufacture anything. Only production department, there is an output. That is why we apportion this. So product ABC. Just to calculate the production. So we need to calculate the production overheads per unit and the selling price per unit. Okay. So can you tell me how much is the production overhead? Right. So production overhead is calculated. Assembly and finishing. Assembly and finishing department. ABC. Assembly 110 per machine hour. It is 110 per machine hour. And how many machine hours used from the assembly department? Which is given here. Actual hours spent. ABC assembly department 2 machine hours. So multiplied by 2 machine hours. Okay. 2 machine hours. Each machine hour cost is 110. Total amount 110 into 220. Finishing department, it's 100 per labor. So how many labor hours used in ABC? They have used 3 labor hours. So that will be multiplied by 3, which is 100 into 3. So the total production overhead. Addition of 5, which is the production overhead per unit. For ABC. Production overhead per unit for ABC. $220 for assembly, 300 for finish. Total 500. This is the overhead cost. Overhead absorption. So here we put this assembly department, machine hours, finishing department labor. That ABC. And also they have asked to calculate the selling price per unit of ABC. Selling price. How do we calculate the selling price? Calculation of selling price. How do we calculate the selling price? Selling price is equals to the prime cost plus production overhead. Then we get the selling price. Prime cost is given, the question is 380. Production overhead we have calculated, it's 520. What is production cost? At least 900. Then the selling price. How do we calculate the selling price? We have to add the profit. Profit margin is given, it's the markup. The company sells goods by adding a profit markup of 20% on the total production cost. On the total production cost, they add 20%. Cost into 20%. Markup. If it is margin, the situation is different. 900 into 20% is 180. In the selling price, $900 plus 1,000. Selling price per unit. So calculating per unit. This is the selling price. So that's for the third question. In product PQR, this is product ABC. ABC. Now let's calculate for product PQR. Product PQR, they wanted to calculate the overhead per unit. Calculation of production overheads per unit, we can use the same method. And the prime cost. They have given the selling price. And we need to find out the prime cost. So let me take this same format. Number 4, product PQR. Can you do this calculation? What is the total? Production overhead cost. Assembly. Assembly, PQR, it's 110 rupees into 4 machine hours. 100 into 2 labor hours. Is the answer. 110 into 4, 100 into 2. Tell me how much is the prime cost and give 2 minutes. We took the labor hours for finishing. Assembly, we take machine hours. For finishing, we have to take labor hours. What is the prime cost? Here we need to use the markup margin concept. Prime cost. Total overhead is 6. It is 6. Selling price is 1,200. Now we need to find out the prime cost. So how do you calculate prime cost? You have this. So you have to go upwards. Then the profit margin is 20% on cost. Cost plus profit equals 6. The cost is 100. Profit is 20. Sales will be 120. This is the rate. This is the profit calculation, the function. If the cost is 100, profit is 20. Markup. Now in the second product PQ1, we don't have the cost, we have the sales. Sales value is 1,200. If the sales value is 1,200, how much is profit? How do you calculate? 1200 divide by 120 multiply by 20. Cross multiplication. So 200 is the this is 200. Total production cost is 1000. If this is 1000, prime cost is 360. Prime cost is 360. So you are paying months. Okay. So this markup margin calculation is very important. Okay. If you still have doubts, let me know. I will later explain this. Okay. So this is 2019 11 paper question number 2. Overhead analysis sheet, absorption rate, calculating the production overhead and the selling price for two products. Is it clear?